So she's this next section is entitled Darwin's Selective Skepticism. She says that people are sometimes under the impression that Darwin himself recognized this problem, right? They typically cite Darwin's famous horrid doubt passage where he questions whether the human mind can be trustworthy if it's a product of evolution. Quote, with me, the horrid doubt always arises whether the convictions of man's mind, which has been developed from the mind of lower animals, are of any value or at all trustworthy. But of course, Darwin's theory itself was a conviction of man's mind. So why should it be at all trustworthy? Surprisingly, Darwin never confronted this internal contradiction to his own theory. He was applying that to creationism, right? And so he never applied it to his own theory. Why not? Well, because she says that he expressed his horrid doubt selectively, only when considering the case for a creator. From time to time, Darwin admitted that he still found the idea of God persuasive. He once confessed in his inward conviction, quote, that the universe is not the result of chance. That was his inward conviction. It was in the next sentence that he expressed his horrid doubt. So the convictions he mistrust was his lingering conviction that the universe is not the result of chance. Right. That's what he rejected as a horrid doubt that he should mistrust, right? In another passage, he admits, I feel compelled to look at to a first cause having an intelligent mind in some degree analogous to that of man. Again, however, he immediately veered off into skepticism. But then arises the doubt. Can the mind of man, which has, as I fully believe, been developed from a mind as low as that possessed by the lowest animals, be trusted when it draws such grand conclusions? Right. But not about his theory, but about a creator. Yeah. Right? So he always applies it to creationism. He never applies it to his particular theory. Right.
So, and that's been restated many, many times by many different prominent theorists. People would say, okay, even if there is a God, he's so far above us that our monkey minds could not even possibly grasp what he could possibly give us to understand. Because we're so low, but we're never so low enough to even question whether or not we're, just this product of evolution or any of our larger truth claims like, what is my purpose in the world or things like that. It's always an appeal to say we can't even know very top things. But I mean, evolutionary theory is also a top claim, right? Anything that's not just mate, survive, eat, shelter, food, water, all that stuff. Anything above those things are high and lofty goals that we shouldn't even be concerned about because, that we can't even know, what justice is or what morality is. So we shouldn't even be asking those questions.
Yeah. She says, applied consistently, Darwinism undercuts not only itself, but also the entire scientific enterprise. Right? Keelan Malik, a writer trained in neurobiology, writes, if our cognitive capacities were simply evolved dispositions, there would be no way of knowing which of these capacities led to true beliefs and which to false ones. Thus, to view humans as little more than sophisticated animals undermines confidence in the scientific method itself, right? Because we cannot know. So science itself is at stake. John Lennox, professor of mathematics at the University of Oxford, writes that according to atheism, the mind that does science is the end product of a mindless, unguided process. Now, if you knew that your computer was the product of a mindless, unguided process, you wouldn't trust it. So to me, atheism undermines the rationality I need to do science at all. So it undermines science and the ability to do science, right? And of course, atheism pursuing this research has no choice but to rely on rationality, just like everybody else does. But the point is that he has no philosophical basis for doing so, right? So notice, this is really a presuppositional argument, right? In other words, what do you have to have in order to do science? What has to be the case in order for rationality? What has to be the case in order for truth to exist? Those are what we might call transcendental questions that come out of presuppositionalism. And the atheist has to believe that he can rationally think, believe that, morality is true and that sort of thing. And he's borrowing from a different worldview because his worldview doesn't allow for those things. And so the presuppositionalists calls him on those things.
Right.
You can't do that, right? You're going further than what your worldview allows. You're cheating, right?
Yeah.
So the reason,
especially in science too, there's you're driving down the road and you expect to get to the next rest stop before your ultimate destination. You get to the McDonald's, you get to the gas station, you get to the park to go for a walk, and ultimately to your end. If you were to say, there's no person in the driver's seat, it's just going. Well, you wouldn't even trust getting to the next mile marker, let alone to your ultimate end destination or any of those destinations to get to your end destination.
Well, Elon Musk might argue with you. Right?
So, yeah, it's all product of the neural net. Yeah.
She says the reason so few atheists and materialists seem to recognize the problem is that, like Darwin, they apply their skepticism selectively to other theories and not their own. Right? They apply it to undercut only the ideas that they reject, especially ideas about God. They make a tacit exception for their own worldview commitments, right? Them and not me. They work like this. Of course, I don't, right? I'm above that.
Yeah. I'm skeptical.
Angelic perspective.
Yeah. I'm skeptical, just not of me.
Yeah.